NFL head coaching position filled. Joe Brady will be the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the former offensive coordinator of the LSU Tigers. Brian Daboll, also the former Bills offensive coordinator, will become the Titans offensive coordinator unless he gets the Raiders head coaching opening. He'll be joining Robert Saleh down there in Tennessee. And the Lakers won 129-118 last night over the Chicago Bulls. Luka had 46 points. Lakers will be back tomorrow night in Cleveland taking on the Cavs. Austin Reeves could be making his return in that one. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your sport can go at unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair.
Poked away by LeBron. Here's LeBron on a breakaway. Slam dunk. And LeBron mugs for the crowd. LeBron's got the ball. Gives it to Luka. Luka's three. Good again. Luka's up to 45 points.
Plus, Novak Djokovic, Lorenzo Musetti, more than 38 total games.
We've been waiting.
Carlos Alcaraz, we're just going on his side, more than 20.5 total games won.
Wow, that's terrible.
Anthony Edwards, more than 29.5 points against that Golden State defense.
You don't want to play.
Cedric Howard taking on the Houston Rockets, more than 13.5 points.
I'm just trying to understand why.
Oh, are we playing a game where everyone says something stupid?
Now, live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, we enter the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to take over. Then we got another head coaching position in the NFL filled. Joe Brady is going to step up from OC to HC as he's the new head coach in Buffalo. We got some Padres news we're going to talk about today. Of course, the Aztecs playing tomorrow. Torrey Pines will be home to the world's best golfers coming up on Thursday. We got a stacked up show for you today. And with all that being said, I have one thing and one thing only to say. Sammy Long, are you ready to have a great show?
I'm ready to have a great show.
I said, are you ready to have a great show?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, let's get it going. We are going to start somewhere we haven't started a show with in quite a while, actually, and that is with the San Diego Padres, who we talked about last week. The Trucks were headed out to Peoria. We talked about Yu Darvish potentially giving back boatloads of money to the Padres. We briefly talked on AJ Preller and his contract situation yesterday, but let's dive into it a little bit here because we're in this week, right? This week between the AFC, NFC championship games and the Pro Bowl, because that matters a lot to everybody. And then we got a whole of next week to get ready for the actual Super Bowl between the Seahawks and the Rams. So let's spend some time and spend some focus where it is duly deserved. And that's the fact that Padres baseball is right around the corner, people. So we need to start getting ready for this season. In fact, I read from our very best friend in the whole wide world, Kevin Acee, earlier today talking about Joe Musgrove and how excited he is to be getting back out on the field and rejoining the team for spring training and how he has an eye on a healthy season coming up this year. And that's great to hear from Joe Musgrove, who was just in the community earlier this week doing a ribbon cutting at the San Diego ballpark. So I'm great to hear from Joe Musgrove being back. Now, this Yu Darvish thing is fascinating. Sammy, you were on with John Schaefer for a little bit yesterday. Were you on when John talked to Kevin?
No, I was not on when he talked to Kevin. I was on from the first hour.
So I was able to go back and listen to a couple of the sound bites from that interview with John and Kevin. And the one I thought was interesting was when John asked Kevin, he was like, look, we've had 2 articles in the last 3 days about Yu Darvish in his situation with the Padres. The first one said Darvish doesn't plan on playing baseball again for the Padres or anyone else for that matter, and that he's going to be giving back a boatload of money. And then there was a correction because Yu Darvish came out on social media and talked about like, whoa, I have not retired yet. I'm not ready to say that. So Kevin Acee offered some clarity. Here's what Kevin said. While Yu is walking away, he's not ready to say he has retired. He could come back and play on a minor league contract after this. He could play for the Padres. He could play for someone else. He's not ready to think about playing right now, and he does not feel that he should take this money from the Padres over this time, which, Yu Darvish is a freaking unicorn. Nobody does that in professional sports. I'm not positive Yu Darvish should be doing that in professional sports, and I would imagine the MLBPA is furious that he's talking about leaving money on the table that was guaranteed to him at the time of signing. But how many times has Kevin Acee come on this show and talked about the fact that Yu Darvish is a very honorable person and he doesn't feel like he's earned the money, so he's not going to take the money. And if you want to believe all that, you can. That's fine. And Yu Darvish has given us no reason not to believe that. But let's talk about the Padres side of things because we've talked about the Yu Darvish side of things. If the Padres are to get back some $43 million from Yu Darvish, if the Padres are to get that money taken out of their collective bargaining agreement, tax, all of that stuff, and they don't use that money, what do we have to say about the San Diego Padres?
Well, it'd clear up about $14 million per year. And the Padres could be getting handed a lifeline that no one expected.
Huge. An extra $14 million, you could go grab 2 pitchers for that.
Right. And to be fair to the Padres, because I've given them a lot of flack for not spending money, to be fair to them, last year, a major problem with the team was your 2 highest priced pitchers, Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish. Joe Musgrove missed the whole year, and Yu Darvish was in and out of the lineup with a lot of injuries, didn't play till halfway through the season, and then he wasn't great. You could tell he rushed back from injury a little bit too early. Now, if they're able to get all this money back, there were reports they were already kind of looking for pitchers in the $8 to $10 million range. That's obviously the biggest need the Padres have is starting pitching, because you have a nice top 3, Pivetta, King, and Musgrove. The problem right now, though, is Musgrove's your number 3 starter, and he's coming off a massive injury. You don't want him throwing bulk innings throughout the year to where his arm is just burnt by the end of the season. Ideally, you'd want the Padres to do what the Dodgers did last year. The Dodgers, remember when the LA Times writing articles in August about how the Dodgers were a flailing baseball team? They had gotten swept in the season series by the Angels. Well, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and a lot of their star pitchers weren't pitching. Basically, what the Dodgers did was they put them on ice, and we're like, we're not going to win as many games as we could, and we're going to keep them fresh for the playoffs. That's ideally what you would want to have happen with Joe Musgrove, is the Padres are in a position where they're making the playoffs. They don't have the luxury of the depth of the Dodgers, so they're fighting and clawing to make the postseason. But Joe Musgrove was brought along slowly throughout the year, and then he's ready to go for the postseason as a potential ace. This is where you need to go get another starting pitcher. And if this Yu Darvish money frees up, are you in the Framber Valdez sweepstakes? People have talked about Nick Martinez. People have talked about Justin Verlander. There's a lot of names out there of guys that could actually contribute. I don't really know how I feel about Verlander because he's old. I want a guy who can pitch and be an ace for most of the season. I mean, if the Padres are able to have healthy, this is the best case scenario, the 3 that I just named, plus a new addition to the team, that's a pretty legit starting pitching staff where you'd feel good about the Padres heading into the year. But again, if Darvish gives his money back and they don't spend the money, then it's very clear the Padres are just interested in selling the team and not interested in actually spending money to go out and win on the field.
Now, let's be very fair to the Padres, and it's actually funny you mentioned Justin Verlander. Ben Verlander, who's his younger brother who played in the minors, but now he covers Major League Baseball for Fox, actually had a story out earlier today that basically showed every team's 2024 revenue for the year plus their 2025 payroll for the year. And the Padres are actually 6th on this list in terms of percentage of payroll spent on the following season. So the Padres made $432 million in 2024. They actually spent $275 million on their payroll last year in 2025, which is good for 63.8% of their payroll to revenue. Now, that's not close to teams like the Dodgers, who spent 73%. They made $752 million, spent $549. The New York Mets made $444 million, spent $400 million. Those are the 2 teams at the top. But that is ridiculously respectable for the Padres, who we talk about all the time is one of the teams in these lower markets that can't afford to spend like the big boys. Well, they are spending like the big boys in terms of percentages of revenue to actual payroll. And that is impressive what the Padres have been able to do. Now you look at where a lot of that money is going. And last year it went to Manny Machado, who had a disappointing postseason, Xander Bogaerts, who had a disappointing postseason, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, who weren't around for the postseason. And so that's where things get kind of frustrating, is it's not money well spent. Well, for years we were talking about the Padres just not spending money, period. So you need to combine the two. It needs to be money that you spend, but is also spent on pieces that are going to help you to win, which the Padres have struggled with at least over the last year or so. But this year, I think you're absolutely right, Sammy. If you take this $14 million that you're saving for Yu Darvish and you spin it into 1 or 2 serviceable pitchers, we're not asking for ace pitchers, serviceable pitchers who can come in and start 17 to 20 games for you next year. That makes all the difference in the world. And AJ Preller has a pretty good track record, actually, of bringing guys in right before the season begins who go out there and start 25 to 30 games for you. So can the Padres do that this year? Unfortunately, there's a hell of a lot that's going to hinge on whether or not they can do just that. All right, let's get to the first big 3 of the day. Hey, by the way, coming up in 20 minutes, we got a fun little game we're going to play where we rank the current head coaching hires that have happened. 6 have been hired, 3 still to come. But we got 6 categories we're going to try to fit the head coaches who have been hired into. I'm excited about this, Sammy. This is kind of fun.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good time because there is like a lot of, we've never seen this many head coaching openings, and also not this many big names that have become available in the head coaching cycle.
So we got 3 more. Cardinals, Raiders, and Browns all still are vacant. Let's get to our first big 3 of the day, though. That's coming up in 20 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
All right, Sammy, where are we going?
Joe Brady is the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills, signed a 5-year contract today. What do you make of the hire? Do you think this gets Buffalo over the hump?
It feels pretty lateral to me. I don't know about you. Brady's been in the system now. He used to be at LSU, right, when he was in college.
Yeah.
And now he's been with the Buffalo Bills. He was the OC last year. We heard that Josh Allen was going to be very involved in this head coaching search. And it feels like Josh Allen was very involved in this head coaching search. I would imagine him and Joe Brady have become buddies over the last year or so. And so Joe Brady gets the head coaching job. Now, I'm curious about the length of this contract, which is 5 years. That seems a little crazy to me. 5-year contract for a guy who hasn't had an NFL head coaching job before. 5-year contract when you know there's going to be a certain someone named Mike Tomlin who might be available next year. 5 years seems a little lengthy to me. But at this point, head coaching hires are kind of like draft picks. You don't know until you see it in action.
And I wouldn't sweat the 5 years because it's, I mean, like, especially coaches.
Being a fired NFL head coach is a lucrative business.
Right. I mean, guys get fired left and right. And the NFL is so lucrative where it's not like certain baseball teams where they're going to hold on to a guy because they don't want to pay the buyout. Any NFL team can afford it. Trust me, if they have pressure from the fans to fire their head coach, they'll fire him. I'm with you. It's not a bad hire. It's not really a good hire. I think the Bills have completely messed this thing up. Starting with 2 weeks ago when because you beat Jacksonville, you missed out on John Harbaugh because you ended up playing one more week. John Harbaugh signs with the New York Giants. Then you blow McDermott out, which I kind of understood, but I understood it. I assume Brandon Beane would be getting fired too. Like the GM has been as equal as a bust than Sean McDermott. I think Brandon Beane is much more to blame than Sean McDermott has, even though I think Sean McDermott's come up short in some big moments. Yeah, Joe Brady, this feels like, to what you said, it feels like a Josh Allen hire, and Josh Allen's comfortable with it. I thought the whole goal, though, was to go in a completely new direction. Going to Joe Brady or Brian Daboll was the other big candidate who used to be the offensive coordinator for the Bills. It feels like, well, you didn't get over the hump with them.
You might as well have just kept
Sean McDermott. Like, I don't really get it. I mean, Look, with all due respect, it's better than Phillip Rivers.
Probably. Maybe. I mean, we'll never know. You want to talk about going in a completely different direction? That was Phillip Rivers. Right.
I think that the lack of experience, and I hope Phillip Rivers does become an NFL coach one day, but just throwing him in there to be the head coach would have made a lot of sense. I have no idea.
They thought they had a shot at Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. My biggest thing, though, is if, let's say Mike Tomlin was like, don't call me, I'm going to TV. Mike McDaniel? Like, why was Mike McDaniel not heavily pursued? He played you in his division.
He interviewed with him. Maybe the interview didn't go well. Maybe he was hitting the vape pen during the interview. You never know.
That would be a
maybe he went full Shador in the interview and had his headphones blasted.
Mike McCarthy, introductory press conference today for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was asked about whether he'd want Aaron Rodgers to come back, and he said, quote, definitely. Don't see why not.
Let me see if I can do this and it sound okay in the microphone.
I don't know why, though.
That'd be the sound of kissing ass, which is what Mike McCarthy was doing. Look, again, when the Steelers hired Mike McCarthy, I was like, are you making a play to try to keep Aaron Rodgers? Because I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers got Mike McCarthy from the second to last NFL job he had. This is all very confusing with Pittsburgh. In fact, when we rank the head coaches and the hires that have been made, you'll see exactly what I think about Mike McCarthy. That's coming up in 15 minutes. But why would you want to keep Aaron Rodgers?
I thought the goal for Pittsburgh was to go in a completely different direction, just like Buffalo. I thought, well, I mean, even more than now. The Bills are on the fly rebuild. They're trying to get over the hump, but the Steelers. You've ran this collection of players like time and time again for the past decade. TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Alex Highsmith, this whole group, they win you a lot of games. They're not winning a Super Bowl.
Right. The Bills have the guy they're building the Super Bowl team around.
Right.
At least they have that step up. The Steelers do not have that person.
If I'm Pittsburgh, and I get it, this is finally your opportunity. What did Steelers fans complain about for years? They get to the playoffs every year and lose, and they weren't in a position to draft a big-time quarterback. Next year's quarterback class is supposed to be great. I thought this was the year that you're getting rid of Rodgers. You're trading TJ Watt, trading Alex Highsmith, trading the whole team, and rebooting this thing with a multitude of draft picks, and a new head coach is going to come in and build this thing. This is why the Mike McCarthy hire didn't make sense. It's a fine hire. It's a name that you can throw out to the media, and people go, oh, he won a Super Bowl. But again, I thought you were rebranding the Steelers, bringing Aaron Rodgers back, who's 42 years old, and your roster is not in a position to win a Super Bowl next year, makes absolutely no sense to me. And Rodgers will win enough games to where next year when Dante Moore's coming out, Maeva's coming out, Arch Manning, all these guys are coming out, and they will be picking in 15 to 20, and they won't be drafting either one of those guys. And it's going to be the same thing that always happened with Mike Tomlin.
Also, the biggest credit to Steelers fans is they are one of the smarter fan bases in football, I feel like. Like, you could pull the shade over the Cleveland Browns eyes. No offense to any Brownies who are listening. You can't really pull the shades over Pittsburgh Steelers fans because they know what winning is like. They know what being in an era of dominance is like. And this is an era of mediocrity that feels like it's just being extended a few more years with Mike McCarthy being the head coach. One more, Sammy.
Luka drops 46 points last night on the Chicago Bulls. Lakers win 4 of 5. Are the Lakers right now pretenders or contenders in your estimation?
I mean, they're contenders in the fact of they'll make the postseason. They're contenders in the fact that if they are able to add a piece at the trade deadline, that makes a big difference. All it takes is one in the NBA. You could easily bump them up here. It's a fact that the Lakers have the best player in basketball on their team right now. It's a fact. His name is Luka Doncic. He's incredible. He can do stuff like he did last night where he can win any game by himself at any given time. But it's probably going to take one more piece. It's going to take Austin Reeves coming back and being able to fit it. As good as he was when he went out, it's going to take LeBron maybe taking even more of a back seat, or it might take getting LeBron out of town entirely and bringing in someone brand new to come run with Luka and Reeves and be great.
It's hard because they're right on the line. I would lean pretenders. And not they're going to make the playoffs. I think they could win a round, maybe 2, depending on the matchup, depending on how the bracket breaks down. But currently constructed, they're not beating Oklahoma City right now. They're not beating San Antonio. They're not beating Denver. Houston would be up in the air. Houston struggled a lot like the Lakers have at times. The Lakers are multiple defensive pieces away. Now, the Lakers have played much better defensive basketball the last couple weeks. And Luka actually in the previous game against Dallas had 6 straight stops as the primary defender. The Lakers are odd. Like even the Bulls last night, they played excellent first half of defense. They were terrible in the third quarter, and they were good in the fourth. They play defense in spurts. The problem is when you're playing elite competition in the Western Conference, you can't play defense in spurts. You have to play defense the entire game. Yes, the Lakers have an advantage that they have Luka, Reeves, and LeBron. They can outscore just about anybody. They can outscore anybody on the floor. The problem is, can they get defensive stops at the end of games? Unless they go get a couple 3-and-D defenders, they're not right now. So they could be contenders if the trade deadline happens and breaks their way. But currently constructed, I would say pretenders.
I was jumping in on some basketball last night. I watched a bunch of that Arizona BYU game, which was fantastic. Arizona holds on for a ferocious BYU comeback. But when watching the Lakers, you quickly realize Luka Doncic is one of those must-see TV guys, and I think we've always known that. But when he's on like last night, there's something special about Luka Doncic that doesn't really get replicated anywhere else. All right, quick break here. On the other side, we're going to get into this. We also have giveaways, by the way. Before I forget, Aztecs basketball tickets for next week's game, next Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. Hang on. Tuesday's game against Wyoming at Viejas Arena, 8 o'clock tip time. We have those tickets for you. They're going to be given away this hour. So stay tuned here for just a little bit. Coming up next, Brooks Koepka faced the media for the first time since leaving for Live Golf, and he is back in the PGA Tour. He's playing at Torrey Pines this week. You're going to hear from Brooks on the other side at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Oh, the fresh cut greens. Can you hear the birds chirping? Maybe taste a paloma on your lips? Because we're here, everybody. The golf season is officially back. This is kind of the start. This is the 3 or 4 tournament stretch where everybody considers it the official start of the PGA Tour season. And you're starting to see guys like Scotty get their first tournaments in a week ago where he got a win. And then this week, it is the Torrey Pines Farmers Insurance Open here in beautiful, lovely, wonderful, incredible San Diego. And so this year, obviously a little bit different. They're welcoming back some guys. So Brooks Koepka is set to make his first PGA Tour event since he left the PGA Tour to go over to Live Golf. Now he's played in some majors, which he was still qualified for based on how he had done prior to leaving for Live Golf. But he has not played in a regular season PGA tournament since. So he was asked, he had media availability this morning. I was able to watch it live. Thank you, Greg Ball, over there at the Farmers Insurance Open. And Brooks was asked whether or not he has any regrets from leaving the PGA Tour in the first place now that he's made his way back. Let's hear from Brooks.
I don't regret anything I do. I've learned a lot, and I've always enjoyed the ride no matter where I'm at. And I think that's one thing that's you always learn from anything you're doing. So I have no regrets, but at the same time, I'm excited for this new chapter. Grateful to be out here for Brian Rolap, Jay, Tiger, everybody that was able to get me out here. I'm super grateful for it, and I'm excited.
No regrets from Brooks Koepka. None, not one whatsoever, because he has 165 million.
I'm about to say, I wouldn't regret anything either.
So Brooks Koepka was a part of a slew of guys who went over to Live Golf from the PGA Tour, kind of fracturing golf there for a little bit. Now some fences have been mended, and actually Tiger Woods has played a big part in that, of working to get some of these guys back. And now Brooks Koepka broke his contract with Live to leave early. They allowed him to do so, and then the PGA set up this kind of welcome back bridge to get guys back over to it, because the best golfers in the world all should be in one place. And that's exactly where they are right now, or at least it's starting to get that way. There's still work to do. John Rahm needs to find his way back, hopefully. Dustin Johnson needs to find his way back, hopefully. But Brooks Koepka, this is a big step to get golf back to where it should be, because, man, we've never had this good a collection of golfers at one time in the history of the game. And right now we have it, and everything is still fractured. They're broken apart. But I would love nothing more than to see Brooks go out there and compete his ass off and get a win at Farmers. It would just be great to see, and I'd be a first step to getting some of those guys back.
Well, also, like, take last year, and this is not taking anything away from Scotty Scheffler, because Scotty Scheffler is unbelievable. But what was the stat? He won his 20th PGA Tour win last weekend.
He tore through everybody last year.
And by his age, the only guys that ever done that was Nicklaus and Tiger. It'd be nice to see. It's hard because you also want Scotty to get his flowers, because the critics of Scotty are going to say, okay, well, some of the best golfers in the world he's not even competing against on the thing. Now that changes when you get to the Masters and you get to all the majors. But it felt like, even like looking at betting lines, it was always Scotty and then Rory and then everyone else. And Rory, outside of the Masters and the Ryder Cup, didn't even really play that great of golf last year. He had a couple great moments of golf. He wasn't like perennially good. He actually really struggled in the summer after winning the Masters. So it's nice getting these guys back. I hope it creates even more competition at the top, because, right, Brooks Koepka back, to your point, Rahm and Johnson, these guys, if they're able to make their way back, then it really is all the collection of the best golfers. You don't want to see what happened to boxing for so long, where all the best fighters got siloed and they didn't fight each other. And if you compare it to golf, it was like half the best golfers in the world went to Live, half the best were staying at the PGA. So we aren't getting the best competing against the best. And it's not saying Scotty wouldn't still dominate with all these guys there, but it even adds more credence to Scotty's success in the lore of Scotty Scheffler if he is doing it with Rahm and Koepka and all these guys playing on the PGA Tour.
Right, because even right now, like, say Brooks Koepka didn't come back, Scotty is still beating better golfers than Tiger was beating when he was on his run of dominance. The difference is half of the better golfers that Scotty could be beating aren't here. And Tiger had the 100% of the field there when he was doing it. So it is different. And that always will be an asterisk on Scotty's last 5 years of dominance that he's been on. But this year, hopefully,
do you think that's fair? Like, you're the golf guy. Do you think that's fair?
No, Scotty deserves every prop he's gotten. And by the way, he still hasn't come close to some of the numbers that Tiger was putting up, but he's been the closest.
Who do you think is the number one threat this year on the tour to Scotty?
I don't know that there is one, if I'm being completely honest. Like, you can go down the list. Guys like Xander had supposedly, we don't really know yet, had a really good offseason and are primed to go on a bit of a run here in this year. Tony Finau is always one of those names near the top. Brooks Koepka immediately puts himself back into that conversation. I think it's just going to take some time. And then there's young guys who pop up every single year. And we saw a couple of them have really nice years last year. The Canadian dude, I think Harris English, had a really nice season a year ago.
He had a fun, nice end of the PGA Tour last year.
And so there's going to be guys this year who pop up again also, and maybe someone can topple Scotty, but this is Scotty's tour right now, and who's going to do it? The golf is going to be really fun to bet on this year, I think, mainly. So I don't know, Sam, we got to get ready for Thursday. We need to start putting some stuff in.
Yeah, we got to get some locks ready for the weekend.
See if your tennis acumen transfers over to the golf world a little bit.
Yes, we got to hit some Australian Open picks here down the stretch.
We hit one pick? Goodness gracious.
Last night was tough.
I'm never shooting a shot right before long shots ever again. It failed.
Last night, I'll take ownership. We actually have some text. 619 said Sammy is the Pearl Jam of sports betting.
You're not too far off, 619. All right, we get those NFL horns ready, because coming up next, all the current NFL jobs, well, the new NFL head coaching jobs that have been taken up, we are ranking them in a way that only Ben Fletcher and Sammy Long could do. That's coming up next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by the Positive Coaching Alliance. Aztecs will be back at home tomorrow night, taking on Colorado State. The game will be at 7:30. Schaefer will get you on the call starting then. Fletch and I will get you pregame starting at 6:30. And the Lakers, Luka drops 46 on the Bulls last night as they win 129-118. They'll be back tomorrow night taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Austin Reeves could be coming back to the team since being out since Christmas. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. If it's your first time listening to the show, welcome in. We'd love to have you. Stay for a while. We're on till 2. John Schaefer takes over then. We have a text line, 70470. You can start your message with the word team. We have the talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app. Download the app. Search San Diego Sports 760. You'll notice a little red microphone icon at the top right-hand corner of the screen. Tap that. You can leave us 30 seconds. It goes straight to Sammy's dashboard. And every once in a while, our buddy Quacked on Padres likes to go, yeah.
Oh, my God.
On the talkback mic. You can do that if you want to also. The text line is open, and I apologize. I haven't looked at it yet, but 619 says Sammy is the Pearl Jam of sports betting. Sammy hates Pearl Jam, so that one cuts deep.
I don't hate Pearl Jam. I just think they're a very overrated band that people say is their favorite band. And honestly, let's be real, they have 2 songs.
Even flow. 858. Josh Allen needs to leave Buffalo ASAP. Doubt it. 858. I'll take current Kawhi over current Luka. Can you say
come on now.
defense?
Well, first off,
I can say defense. I said it twice.
you can be frustrated with Luka's defense, but the dude is averaging 34 points per game, and Kawhi struggles to stay on the floor, and he's about 10 years older than him. So no, we're going with Luka there.
Same 858 number says, you know what, Sammy? All the trash you talk about the Bills is justified with this hire. I can't even defend them anymore. Hiring Joe Brady is like your pants and then changing your t-shirt. I mean, what the actual F is going on? Please continue to rip this hopeless franchise that ruins my life. Thank you. Love the show. Thanks for being here, 858. It's good to see you.
858. I don't mean to rip your Bills. You just know the funny thing is I actually like Josh Allen. I just have had concerns over the years because the amount of excuses Josh Allen has gotten. I'm with you. I don't think it's a terrible hire. I'm not even going to go that far. I'm not even going to just rip the Bills today. I don't think it was a bad hire. I just feel like it was a very, Fletch, you said it earlier, very lateral move hire. It's a very, okay, so you went from McDermott to someone in the same coaching tree. What does that really do? Again, I think I wouldn't hate the hire if you would have fired Brandon Beane.
Yeah, but you probably just shouldn't have fired Sean McDermott if you were going to hire Joe Brady. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. 913, Sammy, can we get you to commit to the big game tailgate coming up on Feb 6? We don't want any flaky flake like on Valley View this past weekend. We got Clint August committed, so the listeners will ask if Sammy Long will commit.
I said I'm coming.
You're coming.
I'm like, aren't I like a part of it, kind of?
You're on your way. There actually might be a little update on what's going on at the big game tailgate. All positive news. All positive news.
615 says, seeing as I'm not in studio with you right now, I can honestly say you are the two whitest dudes in San Diego. Rocking Colors by Ice-T as your buffer song. Hell yeah.
Sammy's like the whitest dude I've ever met. Honestly, I have street cred. Sammy does not. He is white. We also got someone on the YouTube chat. Sammy, ban him. I don't know what's going on there, but just ban that guy.
I can't even see what's going on here.
Don't worry about it. It's not important. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Do you have those NFL horns?
He's trolling me right now.
He's trolling a lot.
See, if you're gonna troll me, it's like you got to make it interesting. Like you got to be like, oh, you look like Rowley and a kid from A Christmas Story had a baby. Like that makes sense. But like saying,
I usually have patience for people being weird, but I'm just gonna put him in timeout. So there he goes.
TO to him.
Do you have some NFL horns for us, Sammy?
You know I do.
How about that? It's ready to go. It's ready to go. All right, what we're going to do here is something a little different. I doubt you're going to hear this anywhere else today. This is a from the mind of Ben Fletcher, so I apologize in advance. But we're going to take all the NFL head coaches who have already been hired, right? There's been 6 of them. You got Stefanski, Harbaugh, Saleh, Jeff Hafley, Joe Brady, Mike McCarthy, and we're going to rank them in baseball terms. So I got strikeout.
I like this.
Walk, single, double, triple, home run. That's 6, right? Yeah, that's 6.
It's actually, if you get it, it's how the game of baseball works.
Wow, Sammy, it's like you're a GD genius in the house. Well, let's get this thing going. You want to start with strikeout?
I think we go from the top down.
Top down. Okay, so we're starting from home run. We're talking about the very tippy top. Sammy, who is your home run hire on the coaching tree so far?
I'm actually going to go with an offensive coordinator. Okay?
That's not a head coach.
Fine. All right.
You know what? Ruined baseball football.
No.
Baseball.
No. All right. I'll save that for later. I think it's obvious. Take the obvious one. John Harbaugh to the Giants. I think this is just the best fit of you have a super young, talented team. Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, one of the best young pass rushers in the game. You get that offensive line healthy, get the secondary healthy. John Harbaugh, adult in the room, is not going to get upset by the New York media. I think this was a home run hire. I expect the New York Giants to actually be in contention next season.
I'm talking about a monster Mark McGwire full steroids home run way deep back there is actually the Atlanta Falcons hiring Kevin Stefanski. I think this was a shot into McCovey Cove if you're in the Bay Area. I think this is a shot onto the Western Metal Supply building if you're at Petco Park. This is a home run hire, dude. Stefanski is going to bring something to the Falcons that they have lacked ever since they drafted a young man named Bijan Robinson, and that is someone who can consistently and effectively utilize Bijan Robinson. Kevin Stefanski, I think, is a genius offensive coordinator with a power run philosophy. I think for the first time in his career, we saw flashes of it last year. But for the first time in his career, Bijan Robinson won't have to overcome a bad offensive scheme. He's going to fit into perfectly a great offensive scheme from Kevin Stefanski. I like that because of the fit. I love the John Harbaugh hire a lot like you do, Sammy, and he's actually my triple, so I'll just keep rolling on this. But the Stefanski hire, I think the fit was absolutely perfect, and I can't wait to see what Stefanski does and not a dog crap organization like the Cleveland Browns. Talk about my triple, John Harbaugh, because it's the same as your home run. I think he is a triple because while I think it's a great hire and the adult in the room and everything like that, I don't know that I love the fit. Like, the exciting parts of the New York Giants right now are their 3 young offensive superstars in Jackson Dart, in Cam Scatterbo, and Malik Neighbors. They have a lot of young players on defense too, but the Harbaugh thing feels like a 5 to 6 year play, where I feel like the Stefanski play is for like next year immediacy, with the Falcons, who are now poised to make a bit of a run in the NFC. I think that the Harbaugh move may still be a couple years away. It may end up being the best hit of the entire time, but sometimes you're hitting for home runs or strikeouts, and Harbaugh feels like a nice safe triple.
You think he's a real Luis Arias kind of guy?
I do. Yeah. It's a gapper for sure. This one's going to have Don and Mud standing up out of their chairs and saying, oh my God,
they're going to get excited. They're going to get excited. The fans will too.
A triple is still really good.
I'm actually going to go, I like both of those. I'm going to go Robert Saleh as my triple. And it's funny. I would have said Robert Saleh alone would not have been my triple. My first blush reaction was, wait, so Cam Ward, you're trying to, not a lot of great receivers. You're trying to develop Cam Ward in that offense. They showed flashes late in the year. Why would you go with the defensive-minded head coach? But bringing Brian Daboll in, I think, is home run hire. You have 2 former NFL head coaches. We know Robert Saleh, what he's able to do with the defense. I don't think his tenure with the Jets was all his fault. Let's be honest. The Jets are a terrible organization. And until they clean out the front office, they don't know what they're doing. Sam Darnold's playing in a Super Bowl. They drafted him number 3 overall. They had Sam Darnold looking like a dude that could not play the game of football. That's how bad the Jets are. Robert Saleh took that defense with Sam Fran that had no business being good down the stretch. No Mykel Williams, no Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. Half the defense was hurt, still had them playing at a high level. And I like Brian Daboll able to exclusively work with Cam Ward. I think the Robert Saleh hire was a triple for me.
Robert Saleh is my double. So if you don't know what we're doing right now, we're putting football into baseball terms because spring training's right around the corner. So we have a home run, triple, double, single, walk, strikeout in terms of the hires so far in the NFL. If you want to jump in with yours, get on over to the text line 70470, start your message with team, or of course on the YouTube chat at San Diego Sports 760. Robert Saleh is my double, and I would say this is an opposite field. You go with the pitch and you hit it out in the gap, but maybe you hit it a little too hard, so it hits off the fence, comes back, and so it's a double, not a triple. But Robert Saleh is a very safe hire for a Tennessee Titans team that needs some stability in their organization. I would imagine, like, Robert Saleh went from the Jets, bad organization, back to the 49ers. He's looking for some stability. I do think this is a stable job for Robert Saleh. He's going to build something there, and he's going to have some runway to do it. Brian Daboll, to your point, Sammy, it was brilliant for them to bring in because now I think they legitimately have a chance at having a top 2 or 3 defensive mind in the room and a top 2 or 3, 4 or 5 offensive mind in the room right now in the NFL. So the Titans, things are looking up. We'll see if Cam Ward can live up to what they just surrounded him with.
So my double was your triple. I'm going to go Stefanski. Stefanski's a great hire. I'm maybe not as high on Kevin Stefanski as everyone else. I feel like that division, it's hard because the Browns have been terrible for so long, and you wonder how much of this is bad ownership and not being able to develop. But to the Baker Mayfield's point, for those who haven't seen it, Baker Mayfield obviously used to be coached by Kevin Stefanski and them traded him and got him out of town. And Baker Mayfield basically had a problem with it and said Kevin Stefanski couldn't even call me and was kind of talking mess saying, oh, you're back in my division. I'll see you 2 times a year.
So I can't wait to see you twice this year, coach.
The lack of Stefanski developing a quarterback. And again, it's not like the Browns have given him the most to work with, but Baker went on to have bigger success later. For whatever you think about Shedeur Sanders, and yes, it is ridiculous he's going to a Pro Bowl, he does have a lot of, quote, talent. They also drafted Dylan Gabriel, quote, supposed to have high-end talent. I question that a little bit, but you have 2 rookie quarterbacks this year. I question the developing of the quarterback. I think is going to get the team playing great. The Falcons are a very solid team, but where are you going at the quarterback spot? Is it Penix? Because Penix looks like he needs a lot of help. Or are you going to let Stefanski bottom out and try to get a top-tier quarterback next year? That's why I'm putting this as a double right now, but I do think in that division is there for the taking.
All right, my single, and this is probably just a little nubber that you hit, and it makes its way through the infield. I think they call those a C&I single, because I really don't know what to make out of this one. And it's not a great hit, but you got on base with it. That's the Miami Dolphins with Jeff Hafley. Defensive coordinator for the Packers. The Packers defense was good to start this year. They dealt with a lot of injuries down the stretch. It seems like a name that we didn't necessarily see coming. And with names like Cliff Kingsbury out there, who love him or hate him, he's turned around some offenses in his time. It was confusing to me that Miami would go so opposite of what they had in Mike McDaniel. They flip all the way over to the defensive side. Again, I think it's a hit. You hit enough of them, it's a 300 average. You're looking at Cooperstown. But I don't know that I love the hire from Miami of Jeff Hafley.
I'm with you on that. My single is going to be Joe Brady. Again, I'm not ripping the hire. I don't think it's a bad hire. And again, it's not a shot to Phillip Rivers. I hope Phillip Rivers becomes a head coach one day. I just don't think he's ready for it right now. So I give it a little bit of a bump for being better than that. They did go with a young offensive mind. My problem, though, is, again, the organization. Brandon Beane, why is he still there? And I think it's hard to sell to the fans that Joe Brady, as Sean McDermott's understudy, is somehow going to do something that's going to eclipse what Sean McDermott did, getting over the hump, which is the Chiefs, and then now maybe Denver and all the teams in the AFC that they've struggled against. So I think it's a single. I think it's a fine hire. I don't think it's a great hire. I think they could have done worse. They also could have done much better.
He's actually my walk because I think that it's just a totally lateral move from Sean McDermott. Does that mean your walk is Jeff Hafley?
My walk is Jeff Hafley.
So we got to wrap this thing up. So on the count of three, let's do the strikeout. Sammy, are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy, you are out of here.
You're supposed to be doing a rebuild, Pittsburgh. This was your opportunity to have a clean slate and trade for a bunch of draft picks, and yet you go get a head coach with a high floor, low ceiling, potentially bringing Aaron Rodgers back as another stopgap quarterback. I think this is just terrible ownership, but it's weird. You think the Steelers have great ownership, but terrible decision making from them. Real quickly, Ben, before we get to break, I think my home run, though, and then we're not counting coordinators, I got to give the Chargers some love. Mike McDaniel to the Chargers, I think, is an absolutely fantastic hire. I couldn't even that he's going to have an excellent. And
that's on
career.
Sammy not reading the rules of base football. Maybe next time you'll read the rules.
Minter actually, now that I'm redoing my list.
Oh my God, Sammy. No, we're done with this.
Minter probably deserves to actually replace Jeff Hafley.
You snuck in like 4 different coordinators to this conversation. That's not the point of base football. Maybe you'll get it right next time. Maybe you'll get it right coming up next with long shots.
We need a winner. Last night was tough, guys. I apologize to the city of San Diego.
Last night was bad. Let's give away some tickets right now, though. Aztecs basketball next week, Tuesday night against Wyoming at Viejas Arena, 877-767-4760. Let's go with caller number 4 because Sammy went 0 for 4 last night on his picks. San Diego Sports 760.
Anthony Edwards didn't play, so technically I went 0 for 3.
You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. 877-767-4760 is the number to call. Call number 4. You're going to the game. San Diego Sports 760, and we all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun. Well, today we got a teacher of the day for you. How about Christy James, who teaches at San Diego High School? People told us that she devotes her time and energy to helping her students find a path that ultimately sees them graduating. Congrats to Christy. You are in the running to win $5,000 for your classroom. Nominate your favorite teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers, powered by Donors Choose. What up, Christy? Thank you for being here. And for whoever nominated Christy, that's very, very cool. She can win $5,000. Text line before we get to long shots, 858, saying if Josh Allen does not leave Buffalo, he will be seen as the next Phillip Rivers in 20 years. 913 is excited about a Dawn and Mud in the Yacht bobblehead. Have I seen this one before, 913? Send me a link. Is this new, or was it the one they did last year? I'm very, very curious about that. 913 goes on to say, I'm not a bobblehead guy, but Dawn and Mud are cool peeps. They are cool guys. 858, Stefanski just went 5-12 with the defensive player of the year and a Pro Bowl quarterback. And nothing can help save him from the 28-3 cursed Falcons. That is the truth. Are we actually saying the Pro Bowl quarterback Shedeur Sanders? That's outrageous, man. 913 hoping Belichick would have gotten the Buffalo Bills job. They put a whole new meaning on Buffalo Bills, by the way. Bill Belichick. Elevate the drama between Bill and that little high schooler. I think she graduated college. She's like 26 years old now, Jordan Hudson. She's grown up right in front of our eyes. All right, Sam, are you ready for long shots?
Grown up right in front of our eyes?
Yeah. Is that wrong? That's a factual statement, Sammy.
Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's story is so irrelevant. Now you go from being like
so irrelevant.
No, seriously, you go from being the greatest coach of all time to trying to coaching at North Carolina, then having an HBO Max show that's supposed to be about you, that getting canceled. To you think anyone's gonna watch North Carolina football this year? Like it's the story. It was so bad last year.
If they're good.
Think they're going to be good in the ACC?
If they're good, we will watch. How about a little YouTube roll call real quick here before we get to long shots? Jay Silves, what up? FedEx Trey missed the show yesterday. He's here today. What up? SD Tyler,
FedEx.
Rich McGuire. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here.
Jay Silves.
Jump on in on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. We'd love to hear from you there. Give us a subscribe as well. All right, Sammy, let's get to long shots. Rough night last night. Already forgotten about. Gone with the wind. Let's hit it tonight. Go ahead, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that to me and his man.
with long shots.
It happened, Sammy. We got to do it. It has to be done. You understand this? It has to be done.
We're not blacklisting Carlos.
It has to be done.
Carlos, listen.
What's his name from Gonzaga? It took one game and you were like, never again.
No, Ryan Nembhard sucks. Okay? Sorry, with all due respect.
Alcaraz is now 2 long shots in a row. He's got to be gone. It's like you with Jack Flaherty.
But
They got to be gone.
Carlos, listen, we can't disrespect him. He was too good yesterday. That's why he went under on games, because he was too good. We're not disrespecting Carlos.
Carlos Alcaraz is gone. I hereby decree, if I get one a year, I'm using it on January 27th. He's gone.
Who said you get one a year?
Blacklisted.
No. Carl Anthony, the blacklist is Ryan Nembhard, Carl Anthony Towns, Jack Flaherty, and Carlos is not on that list yet.
Carlos is on that list.
Carlos
He's
is
done.
definitely not on
He's
that list.
Done, Sammy. Done.
All right.
Who's up today?
We got some picks. We got Denver and Detroit. Fun game in the NBA tonight. Nikola Jokic getting a little bit of a positive update on his ankle. He's still not back tonight, though. Jamal Murray, more than 27.5 points. Jamal Murray, kudos to this Denver Nuggets team. They've actually been staying afloat, and they've dealt with a lot of injuries. So Jokic obviously gets all the headlines. Jonas Valanciunas has been out for a little while now. You have Cam Johnson, who's been out for a little minute. That's 3 starters right there. So it's really been on Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Peyton Watson. They've kind of found a young star in Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson didn't get too many minutes. He was more of a spot fill off the bench guy. And because of all these injuries, he's been great. But going up against the Detroit team, they're going to have to outscore them. They don't have the front court depth to take on Duren, and this is a really big lineup for Detroit. Jamal Murray, more than 27.5 points. He always plays well against the best competition. He's going to try to outduel Cade Cunningham tonight. It's their only shot to stay in the game is him taking a lot of shots. So more than 27.5 points for Jamal Murray. Denny Advia. People go, who? He's a star for the Portland Trailblazers. Now, people might not be noticing because Portland's not a very good team, But Denny Avia is probably a borderline all-star. And again, if he didn't play for Portland, people wouldn't be talking about this. Washington, Portland, kind of the toilet bowl game in the NBA tonight. Both teams are certainly tanking, but Avia has really become a star, averaging about 30 points per game. That Portland team actually with Scoot Henderson coming back, Shaedon Sharpe, like there's some young talent. There was a lot of high draft picks over the last couple of years that a lot of people thought were going to be busts, and have kind of starting to turn it around now. If Portland could just get a star, a bona fide star to be the number one, they actually could have some talent there in the Western Conference. But tonight, Washington doesn't play a lot of defense. Avia more than 23.5 points. I think the sharpshooter gets it done. All right, and then we're gonna do one tennis pick today. All right. Now, this pick actually was my pick yesterday. It actually hasn't happened yet. So Fletch said I went 0 for 4 yesterday. Anthony Edwards didn't play, and my guy Musetti and Novak have not played it. They're playing tonight. We're going with the same pick. More than 38.5 total games for Novak Djokovic and Lorenzo Musetti.
Because there's no way you were going 0 for 4. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I wasn't going. This is going to hit tonight. Novak, I got into this yesterday. Musetti is a very underrated player. He is about to break into that top half. So there's been all these guys, De Minaur, Musetti, this kind of peripheral group that people don't talk about the Carlos Alcaraz, the Yannick Sinners, the upper class, the Zverevs are the kind of the top 3, and then Djokovic is number 4 in the world. All these guys are right on the outside. Musetti is knocking at the door. Musetti's been very good. Novak, again, we're wondering how many more tournaments is he going to play? He doesn't have the same, he's not quite the same what he used to be.
He old.
Huh?
He old.
He's old.
He old.
But he's a great player. He's tough to put away. Musetti's young and upcoming. I think this goes to the full final 5 sets. Both are very talented, very evenly matched game. Wouldn't be surprised even if Musetti pulls the upset in this one. Anyway, Djokovic is so hard to put away because of his shot placement. He's all over the court. I think Musetti and him go more than 38.5 total games, goes to a 5th set.
I think I just had deja vu.
You get deja vu? Why? Because I said the same thing?
The same exact thing yesterday.
Denny Avia, more than 23.5 points for the Portland Trailblazers, taking apart that Washington defense. Jamal Murray getting after Detroit, more than 27.5. And Djokovic and Musetti, the Australian Open tonight, more than 38.5 total games.
So you know how all of a sudden we now have these legal apps where you could trade on games?
You're not betting on games, you're trading on games.
But like Robinhood's in on it now, Kalshi's in on it now, Polymarket's in on it. There's a few of them now.
They all are.
Should we change long shots to game parlays? Sorry, game trading combinations?
I was kicking that around, actually.
Game trading combinations?
Honestly, especially when we get in the dog days, we get in like June in the MLB where it's hard picking.
Right.
We're going to hit some parlays. Maybe that needs to be a thing.
Maybe that needs to be a thing. I'm thinking like we got golf coming up this weekend. That's fun to have some player stuff in it, but you could do those on here too. You can combine, like I'm looking at Kalshi right now.
We might be doing a listener pick segment where I pick one, Fletch picks one, and a listener picks one.
How about it? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a little change is coming to long shots if this one doesn't win tonight. How about that?
Wait, let me get this straight. So I don't hit one, and then all of a sudden we're killing the segment?
Not killing the segment, changing it, tweaking it, making it a little different.
You should know this as a sports gambler. There's ebbs and flows. It's
sure
not always clean waters.
I just have a little more faith in you hitting maybe 2 or 3 teams.
I could definitely hit 3-leg NBA parlays.
That's what I'm saying. How easy is that? That's easy as pie. Let's start doing that. It's free money, Sammy.
Listen, all of us gamblers out there, listen, you're not always pulling into port and it's calm water. Sometimes you got to get there and you got to throw stuff overboard. Okay. Sometimes you got to overhaul the ship to get into it.
Let's overhaul it. How about that? Sammy, who won those Aztecs basketball tickets?
Mark,
thank you for being here, brother. Proud of you. Awesome. Can't wait to see you next Tuesday night.
Did you say proud of you?
I did. I don't know where that came from.
Proud of you.
Shout out Fridge Watcher on YouTube.
Fridge Watcher.
Saying, I just saw you can make prediction bets on the Fanatics website. I haven't checked that one out, but we might as well do that.
Shout out, by the way, real quick, shout out to our lawyers who were like, you know what? No, we're not gambling.
We're trading.
We're trading.
Investing
in ourselves, investing in our family's wealth.
Yeah. Congress has done it for generations.
Yeah.
Why don't we start doing it?
I can buy a stock, but I can't bet on a game. Trade on a game.
It's 2026. It's a beautiful year. It's San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Unbound.org. Aztecs back in action tomorrow night, live from Viejas Arena, taking on Colorado State, who brings in a record of 12-8. That game will go going at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760 with Schaefer on the call, and then Fletch and I will get you going pregame starting at 6:30 from the courtyard. And the Bills have promoted Joe Brady to be the new head coach of the team. He signed a 5-year contract to succeed Sean McDermott. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Where are we going in sports?
Sound off like you got a pair. Poked away by LeBron. Here's LeBron on a breakaway. Slam dunk. And LeBron mugs for the crowd. LeBron's got the ball, gives it to Luka. Luka's three. Good again. Luka's up to 45 points.
Plus,
Novak Djokovic, Lorenzo Musetti, more than 38 total games.
We've been waiting.
Carlos Alcaraz, we're just going on his side, more than 20.5 total games won.
Wow, that's terrible.
Anthony Edwards, more than 29.5 points against that Golden State defense.
You don't want to play.
Cedric Howard taking on the Houston Rockets, more than 13.5 points.
I'm just trying to understand why.
Oh, are we playing a game where everyone says something stupid?
now live from the studios of San Diego Sports 760, we enter the Fletch Zone.
It's hour number 2 right now. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. If it's your first time joining us, thank you. Hang out for an hour. We got plenty of good stuff to get to here, including a pair of tickets to go see the San Diego Seals. Heroes Night is coming up on January 30th at the Pechanga Arena. Tickets and info at sealslax.com. If you haven't been out to a Seals game, man, our buddy Derek Togerson's on the PA doing a great job. They are a lot of fun to take out the whole family too. So January 30th, Pechanga Arena. Tickets and info at sealslax.com. Hang on for the next 30 minutes or so. We will be giving away those tickets. All right, this is kind of a weird week on the sports calendar. It's a week where NFL fans especially are like, well, every week I've had anticipation for something coming up this weekend. And right now you may be feeling a little bit lost. So coming up at 1:45, Sammy and I are going to find you. We'll be your flashlights in the night. We will be your safe harbor here as we go through some other activities that could be filling up your night. You know what I'm saying? If you got any ideas for movies and TV, hit us up on the text line 70470. Start your message with the word team. Of course, you can get on the YouTube chat as well at San Diego Sports 760. We'd love to hear from you there. But Sammy, you got some good stuff you've been watching. Save it for 1:45. But you got some good stuff?
Yes, I have been watching some good stuff.
Okay. I'm excited to hear about it. Sammy was telling me about this show. Lots of nudity, and I'm sure he'll give it to all of us coming up at 1:45. All right, let's get to the big three here.
Usually don't say give it to you after you say nudity. Okay.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk some Lakers basketball. LeBron did something last night where it looked like he was 25 again, so maybe he's just rejoined the fountain of youth. But let's get to the big three here of hour number 2, where we rip through 3 stories in the world of sports. Sammy, go ahead, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Oh, this is outrageous.
Oh, no.
Text or watch the show on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, on X at Fletch and Sammy. Give us a follow there. We'll follow you right back as well. And if you're jumping on YouTube for the first time, drop your name in there. We'd love to give you a shout out. Sammy, where are we going?
So per ESPN, Dante Moore going back to college will improve Kyler Murray's trade value. If you're one of these teams at the top that needs a quarterback, would you rather, if you're the Jets, would you wait a year and just try to bottom out and get a draft pick? Or do you think Kyler Murray has the ability to become a Sam Darnold, a Baker Mayfield, one of these guys who resurrects his career with another team?
I do think Kyler deserves another crack at a starting job. So I was playing this thought experiment with a buddy last night. We were on the phone talking about it, and I was saying this. If you were the Steelers right now, would you rather Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback or Kyler Murray be your quarterback? Murray. If you're the Dolphins right now, would you rather Tua Tagovailoa be your quarterback or Kyler Murray be your quarterback? Like, there's a few teams you could do this with, and the answer is almost always going to be Kyler Murray, including the Arizona Cardinals. Like, if you're the Arizona Cardinals, you're bringing in a new head coach. We still don't know who it's going to be. They've actually said they're going to be patient with this job search. But if you're the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray probably deserves another crack at starting, but it seems like that relationship is just too fractured. So I look around football, and I'm like, all right, well, teams who are needy at quarterback, I'd probably rather have Kyler Murray than their current situation. Like, could the Steelers be a Kyler Murray away from not just fizzling out in the first round of the postseason?
Well, I think you have to decide if you think Kyler Murray can become elite, because Kyler Murray's an upgrade over a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler Murray, like forever, whatever you want to say about the Call of Duty and the not focusing, and per all reports, people like his teammates have never really come out to his defense. Like, Kyler Murray's been trashed in the media, and usually you hear when this happens, you have former teammates, current teammates coming out to his defense. Kyler's never really had that. So
right. And maybe he's a bad leader, which is important.
But I think the thing is, do you think that he can be a star? Because the worst kind of quarterback to have is your middling quarterback. I always go references, but Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins won you a ton of games, but he wasn't winning you a Super Bowl. So, like, if you're Pittsburgh, now, if the goal is to keep running it back with the same roster, then 100% I take Kyler Murray, because I'm sitting there going, Kyler Murray's way better than Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career. I think Kyler Murray could be something and be exciting. He's also still a young player, so if he becomes good, you could totally revitalize the team, and maybe he's the quarterback going forward. But just getting Kyler Murray, you're going to win a decent amount of games, but if you're not putting yourself over the top, you're right back in the same spot like you always have been, where you're winning 9 games a year, but you're not able to pick a big-time quarterback. So I do think Kyler Murray will have suitors, but I'm curious where he goes. And I'm curious, like, the secondary market, like you mentioned Tua. Does Tua have trade value?
It's a great point. All right, what's next?
Eagles offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss spurns the Eagles to remain the offensive coordinator at LSU, which is kind of surprising. The one offensive coordinator job for a current head coach that is not filled yet. Do you think the Eagles offensive coordinator job is attractive? Because it's like on paper it would be super attractive, because you look at Saquon, Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, like all these, they have talent everywhere. Why is this job not been filled yet?
It's a great question. Here's the thing with the Eagles. They probably should have fired Nick Sirianni. They probably should have gone the route of Sean McDermott, and which is crazy to say because Sean McDermott didn't win the Super Bowl, and Nick Sirianni did. But the more you talk to people out of Philly, I still go back to that interview we did with Eitan Shander, who told us, he's like, yeah, Nick Sirianni doesn't really have his hand on the defense or the offense at this point. This is very much a coordinator-led position, and Nick Sirianni takes some credit, but his number one job is to be the peacekeeper. He's done a bad job at it. So everything we've heard out of the Eagles camp is when they're not winning, things are not good from the top down. And so would you, Sammy, asking you're the bright young offensive mind that's going into the NFL and is in the offensive coordinator pool, would you immediately want your next job to be Nick Sirianni as your boss?
No, because, well, it's tough. It depends if you think that Sirianni is going to get the credit. Because if I, like, this is why I love Mike McDaniel of the Chargers. Harbaugh gets a lot of credit, but we know how bad that offense was. Not terrible. How limited the Chargers offense was last year with Greg Roman. Greg Roman was a really bad offensive coordinator, couldn't get done in Baltimore with the Ravens, and then couldn't get it done last year. If Mike McDaniel in the offense has a fantastic year, people are like, oh, Mike McDaniel's the new potential new head coach in all the league circles next year. Whereas going to Philly, because to your point about whether you think he should have been fired, Sirianni or not, Sirianni has been to 2 Super Bowls and he won one a year ago. So if the offense gets back on track, are people going to give you the offensive coordinator credit, or are they going to give Sirianni the credit and you're kind of the odd man out? And then just looking at it, that's assuming everything goes right. It's a headache with AJ Brown. Are you going to deal with that? Is Saquon Barkley getting up there in age a little bit? 30 is usually the age where running backs go downhill. He wasn't quite the same player he was the year before. You worry about injury history with him. Like, maybe this is kind of an aging offense. While talent's everywhere, you don't really want to go down with the sinking ship where you feel like the Chargers and McDaniel has a lot of room to grow, especially with the offensive line coming back.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation out in Philly, man. It's always hard being that team that just won a Super Bowl. You have a ton of the same roster left. You have this young, exciting defense that you feel like you can keep around, but there's legitimate questions about your head coach. And hell, this year in Philly, there was questions about their quarterback, which I didn't fully understand, but Jalen Hurts certainly didn't play great down the stretch. And I'll tell you, the worst look for the Eagles is what happened to the 49ers in the divisional round. Like, you lost to a team that got absolutely boat raced against a divisional opponent, which doesn't typically happen in the postseason. Sammy, what's next?
All right, so head to tennis. Carlos Alcaraz going to the
blacklisted.
No, don't.
Done.
Carlos Alcaraz.
Dead to us.
Carlos Alcaraz has won us a lot of long shots over the years. Carlos Alcaraz just won his semifinal matchup, going for the career Grand Slam. So he's never won the Australian Open. He's won Wimbledon. He's won Roland Garros, the French Open. He's also won the U.S. Open multiple times. Overall question is this, though. Where does a tennis Grand Slam, especially at the age of, 23, 24, stack up in all-time sports accomplishments, especially with golf getting going this weekend and kind of every league in play right now, or about to be?
I'm going to do a quick Google. While I do that, tell me, how old was Patrick Mahomes when he won his first Super Bowl?
How old was he? 24, 25?
Okay.
He's 29 now. No. He was 23.
He was young.
Because it was his second year starting.
Right. So
but he would have been in the league. So I think he was like 25.
24, 25, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Right. Tiger Woods was 21 years old when he won his first Masters. I think I have that right. I mean, it's up there. I don't know enough about the tennis hierarchy, but I do know Grand Slams are pretty damn important, and I know all the greats have them. So for Carlos Alcaraz, look, I make fun of Sammy a lot, and we joke about tennis, and we joke about the fact that Sammy's weirdly really good at betting on tennis, and we joke about the fact that Carlos Alcaraz has been blacklisted because he's lost his 2 bets in a row. What I will say is this: Carlos Alcaraz, from everything I've read of what went down yesterday, he's more dominant and locked in than ever and is on his way to winning that career Grand Slam. And at 23 years old, it's right up there with everything else. When you talk about major sports accomplishments, Super Bowl MVPs, winning a Masters, hell, a NASCAR Cup, it is up there. For getting it done that early, that young in his career is incredible. And he's going to work his way into being an all-time great.
Well, it's funny we look at like golf and tennis are obviously very comparable because you're playing majors, and it's like in the solo sport, just like fighting, boxing, the UFC, you might have one, not always, but you might have 1 or 2 players that are, ahead above everyone else. This is why it's hardest to win the Super Bowl, because every year, I mean, every team is so stacked. It's so hard to win a Super Bowl. It's probably the hardest one to win. You worry about when you get to like a Grand Slam. So at that age, the dominance he's already shown, he's already one of the best tennis players of all time. Just like obviously when Tiger was running through everyone, winning all these majors and Grand Slams. But like, what means more? The fact that you win like a Super Bowl in a league where everyone's much more even, or you're so much more dominant than everyone in a single sport. But that also could work against you, because if you're just like, if in tennis, for example, Sinner and Alcaraz are so much better than everyone, is it really just them beating up on a lot of, they're just masters at their craft? I just wonder where we put solo accomplishments versus team sports.
It is funny. And in America, the most popular sport, it's not even close, is the NFL. Worldwide, it's obviously soccer. So you like look at those two things. They're team sports, but we highlight the individual. Like Patrick Mahomes is our superstar in the world of football. Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, whoever you want to say, is the superstar in the world of soccer. And they get a lot of credit for elevating the team around them to be competitive on the national stage. So Patrick Mahomes gets a ton of credit, not just because he's the best player in the best sport in the country, but he's also bringing his whole team up with him. Whereas Tiger Woods, we could talk about Tiger's career and say he's celebrated because he kicked the crap out of everybody he played against.
Right.
And it's very much a singular thing. It's a fun conversation to have, especially if you're at a bar drinking and you can get into arguments over who's the best athlete of all time. And when someone tells you golf shouldn't be considered in the same sport, I can tell them to F off, because Tiger did it for like 20 years.
Tiger should definitely be considered one of the greatest athletes of all time.
I think so too. I've had plenty of conversations with people who don't think that. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. I did want to give a quick shout out before we get out of here. I don't know if everyone's noticed this, but the Aztecs women's basketball team is on a freaking tear right now. Stacey Terry Hudson has them kicking. They are 9-0 in Mountain West play, on first place by themselves, atop just over UNLV. They play tomorrow against Colorado State tomorrow morning in Colorado. So congratulations to the success that the Aztecs ladies have had so far this year. How about it? They're cooking. You know what, Sammy? Stacey Terry Hudson had an appearance on this show ahead of the season starting, so maybe we should take some credit.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
No, we don't deserve any of the credit. It all goes to them, but they are cooking right now and playing some really great basketball. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break here. We got tickets for Seals Lacrosse on the other side. Don't go anywhere. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, we got 13 chances today for you to win $1,000. We do this every weekday with the bonus bucks giveaway every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 2:00 today. So stay tuned for that. You'll hear the big legal ID sweeper saying, "This is San Diego Sports 760. Blah, blah." Then you're going to hear keyword is blank. You're going to take that keyword, go over to sportssd.com, and you can win $1,000. Easy as that. YouTube, we got a chat from our buddy Indy Drew saying, "I listen on terrestrial radio, but gave you boys a quick subscribe. Love the show, boys."
Oh, Indy Drew,
we love you. How about that? Yeah, you can subscribe on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Of course, listen to us on terrestrial radio. AM 760 is our dial, a blowtorch here in Southern California. All right, we got a text that I had to do some Googling on to make sure it's a fact, and it is technically a fact. Now, the numbers may be skewed a little bit, but 858 texting into the show says, speaking of popularity, soccer has become more popular than baseball in America now, and I love it.
Wow.
Is that true? Let's get some opinions in here because the facts would show it's true, but on YouTube and the text line.
Well, what are the facts on that?
Well, the facts
is it television ratings or
no? Company, The Economist, polled a bunch of people. This was in Q4 of 2024, so this is a little old.
A bunch of people.
I don't know how many people they polled.
They polled 10 people. Let's
go on percentage in terms of shares of fans. They interviewed at least 100 because these are not even numbers, all of them. American football is the most popular sport. They asked, what is your favorite sport to watch? All right,
okay.
That was the question.
All right.
American football, 36% of fans in this country.
Obviously.
Basketball, 17% of fans.
Obviously.
Here's where it gets a little tricky. Soccer, 10%. Baseball, 9%. Ice hockey, 4%. Tennis, 3%. Boxing/MMA, 3%. Golf, 2%.
Wow.
Golf at the bottom, that kind of hurts.
What?
It's because of Liv. It's because of the split.
Well,
but seriously, text us 70470. Start your message with team. Look, if you're a bigger soccer fan than baseball fan, we'll start talking a lot more SDFC.
Well, you see just speaking about, I don't know what's more popular or not. If according to that survey, it's soccer. I think it depends on where you're at in the country. But I mean, looking at San Diego, I mean SDFC. They're packing the house.
By the way, we saw the numbers recently for what our radio broadcast did with SDFC. They were through the freaking roof.
Well,
man.
yeah, you see what happens when the city completely supported the team, and then they were really good. Like they in the inaugural season to go to the Western Conference Finals is pretty crazy. I don't think anyone could have expected that, but it has been cool seeing the development of soccer in America because it was always kind of thought of that. In America, the MLS was kind of an afterthought. And then the last couple of years, I mean, the MLS has really kind of come in and gained a whole new fan base. And maybe that's what the American women's team has dominated for years. The American men's team hopefully put on a better showing this time around. They've had some young stars there. Pulisic been playing really good overseas, but it's only going to grow with the World Cup coming because that's just going to bring a whole brand new kind of vision of soccer fans, but
especially if we kick some ass in the World Cup. Like Sammy and I were getting hyped before the show talking about the Team USA hockey team, and we're planning a show for next week where we're going to lose our minds with some patriotism, getting ready for Team USA hockey to go out there and get some wins. But Team USA soccer, if they make some serious noise here in the World Cup, I remember vividly getting hyped up for every single women's match when they were on their run of dominance with our friend Alex Morgan and Hope Solo and all the ladies on that team. And that became a nationwide phenomenon, rooting for that team.
Totally.
You can have the same thing with the men's team. They just haven't seen the same success.
Right. The men's team has been, I heard them talk about it. It's like there's a lot of finesse. There's a lot of talent. Like you have Pulisic and Tyler Adams and a lot of the guys that have been really good. They just haven't been able to break through. And obviously it's tough when France and England, this is their primary sport. So their benches are filled with like Premier League stars and stars in France, whereas the American bench is not quite the same thing. It's because obviously, even though soccer is really growing in popularity, all our best athletes are probably in the NFL and the NBA and so forth. Now, I do think on the flip side of that, I think baseball's popularity actually has been growing again as well.
So do I. I think the pitch clock was huge. I think the Extra innings rules in regular season have been huge. They've actually helped baseball a lot, making it more digestible.
100%, because baseball for years was the one sport that would not change.
4.5 hour games.
It's like, guys, we love baseball. I love baseball.
So do I. It's honestly like one of my favorite days of the year every year is opening day. I buy myself a bag of cracked pepper sunflower seeds. I go sit on my couch and watch baseball nonstop.
I hope you don't spit them out on the floor.
I have a red Solo cup beside me. I'm that white trash. Let's go.
But like baseball finally adapted. They realized this whole nonsense of we're not going to adapt because it's going to mess with stats from 100 years ago in the 20s. Like, let's get rid of that. Pitch clock, best thing that ever happened in the sport. A runner on second and extras. Like, we don't need an 18 inning game in the middle of July. I'm sorry. In the World Series, 100%. Not in the middle of July. So it has been cool seeing soccer on the rise completely. I think baseball's kind of coming back around, and we know the NFL and basketball are always going to draw big viewership.
And let's freaking go SDFC, baby. First game back at Snapdragon Stadium is coming up on February 21st against Montreal. Let's get it.
I wonder how it breaks down for SDFC before we get to break.
They also have 2 games coming up like next week. They play on the 3rd and the 10th.
I'm curious to talk to. We have some SDFC folks on the show. I'm curious how it breaks up because the World Cup, a lot of players on SDFC will be playing for their respective countries.
Oh yeah, brother.
So, and the MLS takes a little bit of a pause there. So I wonder how that affects prep, because in the middle of your year, you're having just like the NHL this year.
Yeah.
The NHL, because of the Olympics, is taking a 3-week break. So I wonder how that kind of affects the mindset on how you build the team.
I'm sure it's similar to like the World Baseball Classic, where guys come into spring training a little late. I'm sure it's not that big of a deal.
No, I'm sure. It's a big deal, but I know, we had a couple people on, like Tyler Heaps is talking about. You want to develop the bench a little bit more because you know that some of these guys are going to be probably a little tired from playing in the World Cup.
Well, it's going to be fun. Sammy and I are going to become expert soccer gamblers when the World Cup comes around. We're going to get really, really good at making a lot of money on Team USA winning a bunch of games. That's the plan.
And dude, we're going to hit some Ghana strikers.
Hell yeah.
We're going to study up. We're going to be like, oh my, Golazo long shots.
We got some time in the lab to put in, and if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be this show right here on San Diego Sports 760, baby. Lab time mandatory. It's San Diego Sports 760. We're going to take a quick break here. Seals LAX tickets on the other side, plus some NBA talk that we were going to get to here, but we ran out of time because now, soccer's number 3. Soccer's number 3, Sammy. That's what's going on. Take a quick break here. NBA on the other side. They're number 2, by the way, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by the Positive Coaching Alliance. Luka and the Lakers. Luka drops 46 on the Bulls last night en route to a 129-118 win over the Chicago Bulls. Lake Show will be taking on Cleveland tomorrow night in Cleveland. Austin Reeves could be coming back for the team. The big NFL news of the day: Joe Brady, former offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, is the new head coach. He will be succeeding Sean McDermott. He got a 5-year contract there in Buffalo. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer's going to take over then. Tomorrow night, Aztecs Hoops back at Viejas Arena. They got Colorado State. Pregame coverage gets going at 6:30. John Schaefer's going to have the tip just after 7:30 right here on your home for the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760. 615 texting into the show. I believe that's our buddy Budweiser Scott. Says, Sammy, I'm not sure that gambling is your game, but you make for one hell of a DJ, my friend. If I ever get remarried, I know who I'm hiring for the wedding reception.
That is the best compliment I've ever gotten on this show.
Well, except for the first part where he said, I'm not sure that gambling is your game.
We don't need to worry about that part. The DJ part, I put a lot of effort into the songs that we curate for our listeners today.
I will say yesterday, Sammy was repping a really cool Cars t-shirt.
Yeah.
Good band. Today you got Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who are you going with tomorrow?
I don't know. I gotta get some new ones. I got a few shirts that unfortunately I can't wear at work, but would be fantastic for the stream.
Sex Pistols.
I wear the Sex Pistols shirt at work. That one, it's funny, that shirt, whenever I go up to people, like they see me, everyone in the hallways always kind of takes a step back because they don't really know what's on my shirt first.
You gonna shoot me or you gonna sex me? I don't know. Sammy said his shirts are funny. Basketball, second most popular sport, by the way. 17% of fans saying it's their most favorite sport, according to a survey done by The Economist. Last night was a hell of a night. You heard it right here on San Diego Sports 760. The Los Angeles Lakers took down the Chicago Bulls in Chicago, 129-118. The guy who preempts our show, Colin Cowherd, was in attendance at that game. Colin lives in Chicago now. Is that right?
Yeah, he moved there. I think his wife wanted to move there.
Hell of a year to move to Chicago. I'm pretty sure it was like 10 degrees and 25-mile-an-hour winds earlier today.
I know my buddy wanted me to come out last weekend. I was going to, but then I was like, I saw the weather. I was like, we're gonna reschedule that.
Luckily, basketball's played indoors. Not sure if you knew that, Sammy, but the Lakers win 129-118. Luka had 46 points, but did you see that dunk that LeBron threw down? Because it looked like 25.
Are you talking about Jackson Hayes?
No, LeBron had a dunk last night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It looked like he was back to being 25 years old. And I heard Colin talking about this a little bit earlier today, but it's weird that there are games where LeBron looks like he's still LeBron. And then there's games where he looks like he's a bit of a shell of himself. But if they get that LeBron this postseason, I mean, the talk about trading LeBron is still there somehow. But if they get that LeBron in the postseason, the guy who could still sort of take guys off the dribble, the guy who could still elevate and throw down on people, I'm like, the Lakers don't seem like they're that far off to me. But Sammy, you watch them night in and night out. You're a religious fan. Where are the Lakers at right now to you?
Well, that's what's hard. So like LeBron is taking a max salary, but he plays, to LeBron's credit, at his age, like a max level salary player. He's unbelievable. And he's the reason the Lakers have been afloat with Austin Reeves out of the lineup for the last month. The problem though, which is why it's an odd, pairing here with Luka, Reeves, and LeBron. We know about Luka and Reeves' defensive woes. Luka, to his credit, the last couple weeks have actually been playing a lot better defense. Now, in Reeves, because of his size, is never going to be some elite defender. He can't. It's not even his fault. He's not big enough to become an elite defensive stopper. And LeBron, at his age, at 41 years old, can't be playing elite defense every night. And it's gone down a little bit simply because of his age. Now, the Lakers with those three in the playoffs could be hell for people because they can't outscore everyone. It really comes down to the bench. He's like Laravia, Rui Hachimura had 23 points off the bench last night. That's a little bit of the X factor. Reeves comes back maybe tomorrow night. If Rui Hachimura is coming off the bench, not starting, a lot of people have not wanted Rui to start because you feel like if the starting lineup is Ayton, Rui, Reeves, LeBron, and Luka, Rui's the fifth option there, except Rui can score at a high level, so it feels a little bit wasted, and he's not some great defender. So bringing him off the bench adds a little bit of something for the Lakers. The Lakers come down to two things: A, if they want to win this year, They have to go get wing defenders because they don't have enough right now. They'll get exposed by the Spurs or the Thunder or a team like that, Denver. And DeAndre Ayton, the dirty secret, he's getting benched at the end of these games. DeAndre Ayton has been borderline unplayable at times. And he went 4 for 16 against Dallas on Saturday night. That can't happen. And it's a shame because DeAndre Ayton has all the physical tools in the world to be a dominant center in the league, except he's not. And he kind of gets bully balled by the other bigs. So yeah, to your point, the Lakers are a unique threat because they can outscore everyone. But in the playoffs, if you don't play defense and you don't have some big front court, it's going to be tough to win, and it's going to be very matchup based for the Lakers.
Lakers are 28-17. They're right now. They're in 5th in the Western Conference. OKC, who has slowed down a little bit, actually, they're 37.
Yeah, they can't get the Golden State record anymore.
But yeah, they cannot. They're already done with it, I think. So OKC out of that race, but still very much in the race for the 1 seed of the Western Conference. Spurs are up there near the top. Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Timberwolves. But 10 teams will make the playoffs, so everybody's getting in. But when you talk about the NBA trade deadlines in what, a week and a half? Is that where we're at right now? A couple of 5th. Names: Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Ja Morant, all of them with injuries.
Yeah,
injuries that are holding them out until after the trade deadline has passed. If you were to set the line at 1.5, over under, how many of them get traded of those 3 guys?
1.5 or a half?
1.5.
Ooh, my inclination would be I'm gonna go more than over.
One of them is definitely getting moved. We don't know which one, but are 2 of them getting moved is the question.
I think Ja Morant is definitely getting moved. That team is going kind of the grouping of Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Dylan Brooks, and Ja Morant, although it was fun for a minute and could look like the next potential threat in the Western Conference a few years ago, it never really worked out. Desmond Bane gets shipped off, to Orlando. Brooks is now in Phoenix, and it looks like they might be trying to trade Jaren Jackson Jr. And I think Memphis is just done with the headache of Ja Morant. Ja Morant, one of the best players on the court when he's playing. Problem is, there's been a lot of off the court stuff, and do you want him to lead the team? I think he will get dealt where, I'm not sure. He apparently wants to go to Miami now. Ja Morant in Miami. I don't know if that's the best pairing.
Oh, yeah, brother.
But
that's the great pairing. What are you talking about?
It would be a great get if he's on the court. Ja Morant is a game-changing player in the league.
GTA 6 comes out. That's in Miami. Ja Morant, Miami, same year. Come on,
Ja Morant and Tyler Herro on the same team. I don't even know what happens there. But AD is interesting because today it came out. So Rich Paul is aggressively pushing for AD to get traded because AD knows Dallas is probably not winning a championship this year, especially if Kyrie Irving's not coming back. We'll see on that.
And teams are starting to step up to Rich Paul and show him like, hey, dude, you don't run this ish anymore.
Well, totally. So LeBron, because of his age, the Lakers are like, yeah, you're not building the team out for the future. You're still a great player, but you're not the future of the franchise. And Anthony Davis, we all know, has massive injury issues, so his trade value is kind of reduced. I'm curious if Giannis goes, though, because we've heard all this of Giannis. I'm loyal to the team. I'm here. I want to be here.
And then he booed the crowd. They're beefing.
It's like, if I'm Giannis, I am like, get me out of here to wherever, because you already won a championship in Milwaukee. You already gave that city everything they ever wanted. It's not like you left. Like when LeBron left the first time, he promised, I'm going to get Cleveland a championship, and he hadn't by that point. Obviously, when he went back, he ended up getting it to him.
And right now, the Bucks are 18-26,
and they're not a threat in the Eastern Conference.
And Giannis is injured.
I'm curious where he goes though, because Milwaukee, like, if I'm the Knicks,
I mean, you would assume he's getting out of the East, right?
Well, that's the point. So if the Knicks, you would think, would throw everything at this to pair him and Jalen Brunson, because you would probably be coming out of the Eastern Conference if that happened. But if you're Milwaukee, I don't think you want to trade him to Detroit, even though they have the assets, New York, any of these teams, because you don't want him to dominate for the next decade. You look at the West, San Antonio could be an option. There's so many guards.
God, dude, if he went to Houston becomes the most physical team in NBA history outside of the bad boy Pistons.
Houston would be interesting. Now, if you're Houston, you're giving up on all your young talent, Thompson, Şengün, but pairing Giannis and Kevin Durant would be lethal. The Lakers are obviously an option.
Sammy wants that to happen so bad.
Oh, hell yeah, I do. Now, actually, I want the Lakers to not trade for Giannis right now and keep Reeves and get him in the offseason with picks. But again, it's like the teams that can make the best offers for Giannis are in the Eastern Conference. But if you're Milwaukee, are you trying to get the most value there is, but knowing that the team that you trade him to is going to dominate you for a while now, or are you going to take less aka the West, maybe the Houston Rockets, maybe the Lakers. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a really active trade deadline.
What is the official date of the trade deadline?
February 5th.
February 5th. Yeah, that feels right. If the NBA was really, really smart, they would bump that up a couple days and get it right in the middle of the AFC Championship, NFC Championship, and Super Bowl. Like that weekend in the middle, if that was the NBA trade deadline. Whew.
Tyler on YouTube says he thinks Giannis is going to Toronto. Toronto's a sneaky team.
Toronto could do that same thing they did with Kawhi, bringing him in for 1 or 2 years, get a win out of it, get a national title out of it. It's not
the
a terrible
NBA
idea.
is fun like that because now people go, there's so much, the stars control the league more than anything. Like even the biggest stars in the NFL, Mahomes, Allen, take them all.
The shield's bigger.
So even though they can cause a stink, Joe Burrow is not bigger than the Cincinnati Bengals, even though Joe Burrow is a massive star.
Actually, I think that's the one situation where Joe Burrow, he may be bigger than the Cincinnati Bengals.
That might be a good point.
That's like the one example that you shouldn't use.
But outside of Micah Parsons, like the NBA, you see this all the time. You see stars moving teams because they're bigger. Like LaMelo Ball is bigger than the Charlotte Hornets,
which is crazy, but it's true. Really the only place you see it in the NFL is with wide receivers. And in recent memory, it's happened with AJ Brown, and he got a Super Bowl out of that. That's the only one I can think of that actually went well for the player.
Do you think after the Luka and Micah trades, it's like we've seen this more? So Giannis has been rumored about the move. Giannis, a generational superstar, going to the NFL. We heard before the Harbaugh thing, potentially Lamar to the Raiders, Joe Burrow potentially wanting to move elsewhere. It feels like Luka and Micah being, quote, untouchable, untradeable stars in their respective sports, moving has now opened the doors for guys who you never would thought would ever be traded to now we're entertaining this because no one ever thought Luka and Micah would ever be traded.
Now, the reason no one ever thought they would be traded is because if you're the GM that trades generational talent, you end up being your head gets rolled, and Nico Harrison's head got rolled.
Right.
Even though I'm sure at the time, Nico Harrison could not trade Luka just on his own.
Right. They approved that,
knowing that they were probably going to have to fire Nico Harrison because of it, and that's exactly what happened. Now, Jerry Jones is in a little bit of a different situation because he would be the one firing himself, and we all know that's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
So it's a little different, but still, if you're a GM out there and say you are the guy who's about to trade Giannis, you got to think if this doesn't go well, this is my ass on the line in a couple years.
Well, I think there's always been this narrative of whatever sport. Baseball is a prime example of this. If you have a star in a small market, NBA as well, you would never trade them because you're thinking logistically like we want to sell tickets. Right. Giannis is bringing a packed arena to Milwaukee, one of the biggest stars that city's ever seen. So trading him, you're like you have a lot of business walking out the door. Now, for the Bucks, that's the only way for you to rebuild your franchise because let's be honest, Milwaukee's not some hot destination that everyone's trying to go to in free agency. So it's like it's odd. It's like do you be the odd man out and get a bunch of draft picks and rebuild a team? Or are you not wanting to be the villain of the guy who traded a Giannis, who traded a Joe Burrow, traded a Lamar? It just goes back to how stable your ownership is.
We'll see what happens. We got a week and a half to wait, but I would also take the over on the 1.5 players traded in terms of Giannis, and who am I forgetting? Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, my goodness. Talk about irrelevancy at this point in his career.
Anthony Davis and Aaron Rodgers have had the exact same career.
Seriously.
They both have won one title. They both are two of the most talented players to ever play their position, and both have massively underperformed in big moments throughout the years.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Anthony Davis had a little bit better pro career than some of the other guys on the list, but when you talk about best college players ever to be irrelevant at some point in the NBA,
he was unreal.
He was unreal in college. All right, take a quick break here. On the other side, what are you doing this week? We don't have Monday Night Football. We don't have Thursday Night Football. We don't even have Saturday or Sunday football.
It's kind of depressing.
This is a rough week every single year. This is one of those weeks where I'm like, what the hell do I do? And all of a sudden I'm sitting at home watching terrible TV with my wife when I should be doing something else. Sammy and I are going to get you right. All right. We are your shining beacon of hope for this week. What are you going to be watching tonight when you sit down on the couch? Because the NFL Network, they're playing reruns of Super Bowls past. You want to watch something new? We got your fix. That's next. But first, if you want a pair of tickets to the Seals LAX, Seals Lacrosse, we're giving them away right now. Heroes Night is coming up on January 30th at Pechanga Arena. For tickets and info, you can visit sealslax.com. If you haven't been to one of these games yet, they are a ton of fun, man. Give us a call right now, 877-767-4760. If you want to go see the San Diego Seals in action at Pechanga Arena, January 30th. Caller number
5.
5, you're going to the game coming up on January 30th. SealsLAX.com for tickets and info. San Diego Sports 760, your shining beacon of hope and a week of darkness coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you for our final time. John Schaefer's going to pick it up right after we get off. A big shout out to our buddy Rich McGuire, who reminds us tonight, 4:00 on Peacock, undefeated Nebraska at Michigan. Excellent basketball
how about
game.
that?
How long does a college basketball game last, Sammy? 2.5 hours, 3 hours max?
Yeah.
We got 24 hours until you see us again, or I guess 22 hours until you see us again. So between now and then, you're going to want to squeak out some time. Take away the 2.5 hours of that great college basketball game, which I will be watching tonight. There's got to be some other stuff to fill up the time because we don't have Monday night football, Thursday night football, Saturday, Sunday football.
You don't want to just sit there crying. You want to watch something.
Enjoy yourself. Maybe catch up on something new. Maybe find something new that you haven't found. Sammy, kick us off. We're going to go rapid fire TV and movie recommendations. What do you got?
I actually just finished last night on Peacock, for those who have it, the show Ponies. Very good. Amelia Clark, Haley Lou Richardson,
Daenerys Targaryen.
Yes.
The Queen.
Yes.
The Dragon Queen.
Yes.
What's up with her now?
Well, I don't want to spoil too much. Basically, it takes place in the 70s in Moscow, Russia. They are potential CIA agents. It's a nice little limited series, 8 episodes. Nice and tight.
I like it. I watched the first episode of the new Game of Thrones show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
See, I need to get with Game of Thrones. I never watched it.
Man, for about 5.5 seasons, there's never been anything better.
I heard the ending sucks, better. Right?
Yeah, the ending doesn't suck as bad as I thought it sucked the first time I watched it, but it is pretty bad. They just kind of go in a direction that they lost the tone of the show, is the best way you can describe it. Like they were one thing for everything, and then the last half season, they became something entirely different, which I didn't really understand, but it's a great show. You should watch Game of Thrones. But the first episode of the new Game of Thrones show, I thought was okay. Have you ever seen the Heath Ledger movie, A Knight's Tale?
No, I have not.
Which is phenomenal. One of my favorites, but it's very similar to that. Like it's all about tournaments in olden times, and I liked it. Didn't love it. I'll give it another try with episode 2, which I heard is crazy. So I'm actually probably going to do that tonight when Kendall gets home. We'll watch episode 2 of that. The other one that I somehow ended up on my TV last night, and I somehow
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
No, I ended up entertained for an hour. Was Beast Games with Mr. Beast.
That's a fun show. I like that.
So I watched the first season and I enjoyed it. And again, it was one of those things where I turned it on and didn't expect to stick around, and it kept me hooked the entire time. First episode of season 2 I watched last night and I really enjoyed it.
That's a fun show. It's like a real reality TV, and I like that one. Quick one. Have you watched His and Hers on Netflix? #1 right now?
No, but I've heard it's good.
Fantastic show. Really good show. Little murder investigation going on. Spice things up. You know what I mean? On a Tuesday night.
913 asked if Ponies was the TV show you mentioned with the lack of clothing.
Well, I mean, there's certain parts of it where there's not everyone isn't exactly clothed. It's
really?
Listen, it's whatever you're into.
Wow, Sammy. The good recommendation there. I've not seen it yet, but the movie The Rip.
I can't wait to watch that.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Our buddy Clint August loved it. Went and made a whole Instagram review out of it. Thought it was awesome. Now I did read that movie, they're doing something kind of cool, and everybody who worked on it, from camera people to the director's assistants to everyone, is getting paid out on how the movie does based on like how many people watch it over a certain period of time, which is the first time ever in movie history. So that's pretty cool.
Or you can just rewatch Entourage episodes always.
That's always fun too. Or The Office. I do that
of course,
more frequently than anything else. We're out of here for the day. John Schaefer is coming up next. Lots of fun stuff with John, including tickets to Aztecs, Wyoming, including tickets to Seals LAX. So enjoy the next 4 hours of John Schaefer. We will see you tomorrow. Sam, are you sticking around with John for a little bit?
I am sticking around for an hour.
Love it. All right, Sammy, John, next. San Diego Sports 760. See ya.